Your favorite, or is he our favorite?
He's our favorite.
Yeah, he's our
I love Michigo. I just love Michigo. It's good to know that he's still
the
fighting.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, he's the one. Yeah. So MNM, although JDXL is going through a rough time, yes, that's true. MNM also made a few changes right now. We have Karakal Jr. on the bot side. We need to look and approach how MNM are going to play this one through. Let's start with you, Trouble.
I mean, right now, MNM have clearly decided on relegations. So every official game that they get to play from now on is pretty good practice for them when the relegations run starts again. So the fact that they're figuring out how they want to play the game, what went wrong previously in the regular season, and also having the chance to beat a team like JDXL would be huge going forward for the confidence.
So what can we expect from MNM against JDXL?
I mean, I'm looking for a very straightforward composition. That's kind of what they ran with Monday. Like, they run with a very straightforward composition. You have the Olaf, you speed him up, he runs in, he kills the Ashe, boom, done, you win the team fight. That's exactly what I want to see again. That's how I think they're going to move forward. That's how they look the best.
Recipe for success, apparently, for MNM. What is the play style now that we're seeing Karakal Jr. join? Is it different? Do they get that big lead at the beginning of the game and all of a sudden, poof, it's gone? Or they're more
I feel usually it depends. I feel MNM were trying a bunch of different things. They were trying more scaling. They were trying more early game. I am particularly a big fan of the Nautilus Samira or Rel Samira that they were playing towards bot. Michigo on something that's aggressive in the early game, gets the snowball, and he gets to dictate the pace of the game. I think it was good. Also playing for the top side of the map was pretty good for them because Kalem, Chimera, and Soph have played together in Resolve for so long, so they are very bonded together, they're very gelled together, and they know how they want to play. But putting possibly Kalem on a more aggressive side lane and Michigo on something that's aggressive early game gives a lot more options to Soph. And you obviously have Chimera on these neutralizers that he likes to play, the Swain, the Lissandros. We've not seen his Anivia yet.
Let's see if it pops up today, the bird, but let's look into the other one. JDXL with a big change on a mid lane. We've been talking about it. Morosku jumping into the mid lane, brought in the Yone on the previous day. What is happening with a team that was completely undefeated and nowadays they're just shaking, shaking, shaking?
I mean, I feel like it's also really gotten to them, the losses. Like, it really looks like it's gotten to them and they're in their own heads. I don't feel like they need to. Those other 4 players should be able to pull up Morosku. I feel like they're not pulling their weight either, so I would like to see more from them. But I feel like, as I said last time, they need to make their draft simpler right now. That's really what it looks like. I'm looking for champions like the Talia to make it easy for Morosku to move out of lane and group up with Dan, or a Skarner for Dan so that they have a very straightforward play style, something along those lines.
I'd like to see that one.
I actually saw the Skarner a bit in the other leagues this morning, so that could be something that we're seeing.
This is important though, Trouble.
Yes, these are the 5 losses that they have, all at the latter stages of the split, all of the second half. And the 4 last ones are in a row. Nuriki, Cypher, Singularity, Dusty, 0 and 4 for JDXL right now. This is their last chance to solidify themselves in the top 2. They definitely do not want to be dropping again to that 3rd place, to the lower bracket, because one mistake, one wrong best 3, and you fall out of it, you masters yet again. I feel like what really needs to work for JDXL is players like Dan, like Kreis, really need to pull their weight times 3, because Morosku is a rookie this year. He needs to have time to develop, he needs to have time to learn. And right now it is the veterans that unfortunately have to pull that weight forward until the guy is a little bit more gelled with the team and is a little bit more in gear.
The synergy is still not there for JDXL versus MNM. They're still shaky as well. But MNM, if they play for the bot line, if they play for the aggressiveness, we've seen JDXL on the bot line being careless, I would say.
Level 1?
I don't think that's a number. No?
Level 3?
Dead.
Oh.
That's 3 dead. There you go.
Does it say Venza here or what? Troubling never dies level 3, man.
When you think about it, MNM are really keen to look for that bot lane aggressiveness. JDXL are kind of weak at the beginning of the game on the bot line. Is that the lane MNM should explore to the maximum? Is that a way JDXL can protect that one?
Oh, for sure. I feel like we saw the JDXL game versus Dusty as well. Venza was 3-0. He did nothing the entire game. I didn't see a big Moonlight Vigil. I didn't see him play aggressive. I didn't see him use the advantage because Dusty played so well in choking him out of the fights. So if MNM managed to snowball Michigo, I think he's one of the most underrated AD carries that we have in this league, and he can carry forward the team.
Hit the button?
Oh, no, I was just giving you an opportunity to talk about this one, to develop on the bot lane.
I'm just completely agreeing. Like, that's
like,
exactly
give me the draft already, man.
I mean, what I'm hearing from production, we're going to go into Champions Select, so that's what I'm thinking, you know?
So I'm not going to give you the buzzer because she didn't get the buzzer on the Monday. It's on you now. Hit
on
the
me.
buzzer.
3, 2, 1. Boom.
That was a soft one, but it's
With the
still,
lights.
it's
No,
still
I activated the lights that activate the draft. Boom.
500 IQ. For the final day of NLC Summer Split, it's going to be the first game, MNM versus JDXL. Look at the numbers, 4-13 to 12-5. This should be a team that everybody should be afraid of, and it's not there. Although they took away the silos.
Before, though, you and me had a little bit of a talk, and you said we're gonna bet not donuts, but our coffee tomorrow in our lunch. So you're betting on...
You know what? I love Michigo. I trust my boy Michigo. I think MNM are going to take it before
One latte
the draft.
macchiato?
One latte macchiato.
Okay, and I'm getting you what?
Donuts. I think it's...
A donut. Okay,
yeah.
I'll get you a donut, you get me a latte macchiato. Of course the Silas is going to be banned away right here because Mrosku literally is running around in solo queue with an account that's called Yone Silas Akali. And Silas is
him.
one of these champions that is S tier right now, is B1 pickable. My only question mark here is that MNM are not willing to pick it, therefore they ban it on blue side. But also Chimera has showed us that he really likes to play neutralizers like the Lissandra, the Ari, and the Swain in the mid lane.
I'm also really looking at these bans for JDXL. Like, they're both very oriented towards melee champions running into them. Like, the Swain and the Talia both are very good at repelling that kind of attack. The Seraphine as well. So we might be seeing a very heavy melee composition here from JDXL.
Jungle untouched, by the way.
Ooh, but Zeri has gone through, and we saw teams really suffer, especially when Attila was playing the Zeri. It's so difficult to pin down the champion unless you're playing something like a Camille that can really lock her down. It's just so difficult to reach that backline, and also really difficult to reach her range. I feel like the only thing that can reach the range is something like maybe a Caitlyn or an Aphelios when he has the Calibrum. I think that's the green gun. Sam, is the Calibrum the green gun? He's not looking at me. It's fine.
But it is.
What we've also been seeing is the Sivir. Like, the
Oh,
Sivir has also
aggressiveness on the bot lane,
Okay.
fighting aggressiveness with aggressiveness. Tristana locked in, and now for the top lane, the safe pick. We still don't know the supports. This is interesting. I like this.
The Tristana is actually also a flex. It could be still be going in the mid lane. Obviously, it depends on what Chimera is going to be bringing out here, but it is potential. But it is a fine matchup into the Zeri for sure. Like, getting on top of her and really nailing her down. You have the slowdown. Could work.
I'm just wondering, what are you willing to pair this up with? Because to follow up on Zeri, you need something like a Nautilus. And if the Nautilus gets picked away here by the side of Feminine to lock down the Tristana, it's going to be difficult. I would like... This actually gets locked in. I think it's really freaking clever because the only way you manage to save your Zeri is if you pop the Taric ult. Because for the duration the Nautilus ult is chasing you, Taric ult gets to actually pop. So by the time somebody's on top of you on the CC, you can actually negate the whole thing.
Oh.
And the
Ooh, love that.
Poppy.
I'm sad. I'm actually sad to see the Puppy lock in here because the Taric actually works as a flex. Taric jungle has been spotted in solo queue and in some competitive games.
That's my boy right there.
I'm downing it, but I'm hoping for it. Let's see it.
No,
but,
it's not. It's
but
not playable.
It is very sad that we
It's
don't get to see
playable
the
on this
flex.
one. Yeah, you don't. But it's
Oh.
interesting, though. Yeah, okay.
Cillian also very strong. Into all the picks we're seeing from MNM here, it's a very strong champion.
I would say if that Na was not locked, Kryze has played Zillion previously in spring. But this is a flex between mid and bot. If I was JDXL, I would put that Zillion bot, slowing down that Zeri, meaning that the Tristana jumps in. You can get the double bomb with the Zillion, but slowing down a target. And you can actually also go towards killing the Taric as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Zeri. So I feel like so far, JDXL have a pretty solid draft. Now I'm wondering, what is left for Dan to pick in the jungle, right? Because most of the champions have been banned out. Volibear is still there, but he's been heavily nerfed. His Udyr has been banned out, and he's played Lilia.
I'm thinking the Trundle. I'm definitely looking at Trundle here as a contender. It's very much so fitting into their team comp. Like, playing against Trundle and Zillion sounds like pain for all these MNM champions. And also, it avoids them like a very, very easy game plan where they just play for their bot lane. Their bot lane can play for platings. They have the Trundle to control the jungle matchup. He's very strong in that 1v1 into the Poppy. So I'm really loving what I'm seeing from JDXL here.
Oh, and you also have the zoomies with the Trundle, right? That means that the Zeri is pretty immobile unless he has a wall next to her. So you get to pop that pillar, you get the slows from the Lucian, you get, the Zillion, you get the zoomies from the Zillion as well if you're Trundle. So I'm thinking this is a very bot-heavy composition right here. Now all eyes fall onto Mrosku because Lissandra is still up and available. It's a pretty good blind pick as well, especially since you have Camille. You could also go towards the Galio. Chimera has played Galio earlier this season as well.
Yes, and we saw this from Faker today. The Galio actually looking very strong, but it does have counter picks.
Don't worry, we'll have Faker at home.
That's why they're afraid to lock this in. I feel like that's why I feel like they're hesitant, because this is obviously very strong for their team comp. They need to commit to the hard engage, but the counters that they could be seeing in the mid lane. Oh, okay, we see the Lissandra instead, which is a safer choice.
I love this because one, it synergizes really well with Poppy and ganks, and two, Sylas, Yone, Akali from Roscoe, if he picks any of these fighters or assassins or low range, he won't. Actually, he will go for the Ruby style, if you will, from Unicorns of Love Sex Edition, and go for the control mage with Victor. Now, this screams to me, we want to get prio mid and move bot lane from the side of JDXL. Get that Tristana ahead. They're putting, again, all their eggs in Venza's basket, and Venza did not show up in the game versus Dusty. If JDXL want to be locking in that second EU Master slot right now and not have to worry about getting eliminated from the lower bracket, they need to pull this off.
So you think predictions?
I really like what MNM have drafted for themselves.
So my breakfast is secured, apparently.
I'm actually going the other way. I'm going JDXL. The only thing is Kryze needs to be really careful that he doesn't get dove over and over again. That's the win condition for MNM here.
Last option and last opportunity for JDXL to look into that top 2 still on the standings, moving on to playoffs. But it's time to move on into the caster's desk, where Jamada and Initialize are waiting for the last day of the entire split. Take it away, boys.
Thank you so much, Archerom. And the desk was joking about Faker at home, but you know, Camera's nickname from down in that Div 2 was always a Scottish Faker, so you never know. This guy, he's got the pedigree there.
It's in his bio.
You know,
it's in his Twitter bio. Yeah. He is known as the Scottish Faker. Yeah, a lot going on here in this draft. And I will say, as the desk kind of echoed as well, it can kind of go either way. I think a lot of this is going to be down to execution.
Yes.
I will add the footnote of I am going to be unapologetically biased today and say I want MNM to win. Not for the sake of, you know, being what's the word, an alumni. There you go. But actually, because if they lose, we get ourselves set up for like a potential crazy bonkers day. Like, effectively look at it like this. If XL lose, it gives us the highest variance chance for like tiebreakers and such. So I'm here for MNM today. Plain and simple.
Then. There we go. XL on a 4-loss streak. XL with the chance to lock in EU Masters. And XL trying to break the curse that has haunted them since spring. Onto the Rift we go for our first game of the day.
Oh boy, I'm excited. Ah, he's even running the pink Tarek skin.
You know, he knows what he's doing.
He knows.
Armor of the 5th Age. That V is pretty extraordinary. I remember when they rechanged the splash art and people complained enough, they deepened the V. One of my favorite bits of League splash art lore.
It's like, you know, normally people complain about very like mundane parts of a splash.
That's important. That's like critical
rework. And it's like the V was barely halfway down his chest, and the community just went like,
you don't understand.
It was like, you don't get how Tarek works.
And you know, credit to Riot where it's due. They fixed it up. That V is now plunging down the chest. Yeah, spicy stuff. Checking in here a little bit as well as we look on to the Rift. And before we start chatting about things like win conditions and all the rest of it, worth noting it is Ignite Teleport Camille. So looking for really aggressive trades, and that win condition you heard. Obvious talking about on the desk of potentially trying to make the dives onto Kryze as painful as possible. But apart from that, everything else relatively standard aside from the double cleanse from JDXL's mid-bot carries.
Yes, they don't want to have to deal with that Lissandra dive. And
with the so much CC.
Desk was toying with the idea of MNM maybe going towards the Galio. I think that was also a pretty good shout. I think here for me, the Lissandra kind of brings a little more team fighting prowess, right? The passive, if you start to actually get the snowball going in those team fights, the space that it could provide. The Zeri, I think, is definitely the key thing. Zeri, more or less MNM's true source of DPS in this game. Of course, the Camille, if it gets going, can provide a whole bunch of burst overtime. Of course, her play pattern very, very strange.
But get that second part of Precision Protocol, and it hurts a lot.
But I think for MNM, that's probably going to be their focus. Soft's early jungle pathing definitely indicates that at the very least, he's going to be providing cover towards Calum. If the wave is set up, we'll of course track whether or not this turns into a dive, because it looks like Dan is pathing away from Kryze's lane. So
Yeah.
Very well could be. And Soft going towards the Gromp first, depending on whether or not that wave gets crashed in, they could look for a super early dive, but I'm expecting
Be very aggressive.
probably for a level
Well,
3 at the very least.
Let's start off as we mean to go on and check in with some of our hashtag NLC pets at home, your daily dose of serotonin. Beautiful. Thank you, Mikma.
I miss
that.
Mikma.
I miss him. I'm glad he's come back to the NLC to offer us some beautiful cat picks to start off our day with. Soft, though, has decided for an early gank, but not in topside, looking to try and punish the new blood in Mirage-Q, who is shoved up quite a long way, and there's a lot of CC here.
Yeah, level 3 hit by Chimera, now 2.
Here we go. The Steadfast Presence comes down, and Mirage-Q just flashes early, and I think that is wise as Kalem reads the hop. Remember, he's got the Ignite, gets a big second part of the Precision Protocol, but won't go for the full all-in, and Kreis does manage to trade back out pretty well there.
Yeah, that trade back is quite meaty, but there's a Biscuit in toll for Kalem. Get that tactical sweep for a little bit of the hill, and you can see Soft is here. He could actually probably stop this base. Kalem's going to try and shove this in as fast as he
Flash,
can.
stun, gets it straight away. You love it. MNM on the board, and the Agent of Chaos is excited indeed. XL, 4 losses in a row. XL looking at the curse from Spring, and XL lose the first kill. Bot side, Venza chunked out a bit as well, and that is not the start. Our,
Look,
team that was first place.
Look, I can respect the full send from Soft there, to be honest with you. And we force out teleport immediately. Wave crashed under. I think Kreis got to a fair amount of it. I think there was a cannon wave underneath that tower, but very clean. Like we said, expecting Soft to find some kind of impact on the top side, and we've spoken about how Kalem is going to be a pretty key part of some of these team fights, locking down some of the members. I do worry for MNM a little bit later on, though, right? I think
taken very low, has to get the cleanse out there as the Ignite came down. MNM just finding these aggressive trades. You can see they kind of feel it in the air, the ability to turn this game into Mario Kart, play Blue Shell, be that absolute spoiler. XL in Spring was supposed to be one of our...
Oh, there you
never
go.
mind, the flash is in! Level 3 death for none other than Venza. It happens once more.
What was the stat, though? Was it 100% win rate with level 3 deaths?
It
at some
was
point?
until the lost streak started, and the curse has managed to break a lot of those XL streaks. And Venza, just like this, carry potentially was supposed to have Burns Class, Blurns Flash, Blurns Cleanse, and finds himself dead in the bot side. And MNM starting off as hopefully they need to go on.
Yes, exactly. That's a huge wave. Venza's going to get to most of it, though. We'll miss out on the cannon. I think, thankfully, because there's a part in the game where if you die so early, you actually get home guards. So I think that might have helped Venza out in this 2v2. But Mishigu and Karakal Jr., the coach, let's not forget.
Okay, coach
the
steps in.
substitute stepping in and providing a whole bunch of good things for this bottom side on MNM. We'll see how he gets on the Torok. It was a relatively early pick. It was blind as well, right? 'Cause I think the early rotation was Gnar plus Tristana, so it was just complete confidence to say, hey, we're sending it here.
I think first round was, what was it? Zeri, Tarek, and Poppy, I want to say. So, lots of CC, lots of a big carry in the Zeri and Karakal, proving the worth of this Tarek so far. They get an early Drake as well, and MNM. Up some gold, up kills, up the early Drake, and honestly, XL, it's been the early game that's still been okay in their loss streak. It's been the mid game where they started to get a little bit lost, and having a start like this is not what the team wanted, and you just know, some of the nerves and the what-ifs are in their heads. This is a bit of a scary state to be in. Of course, game still very playable from here, but you just got to start asking those questions once more.
Yeah, mentality is a huge thing in League of Legends. It doesn't really get spoken about a lot, I think, especially over the last couple of years where the sort of focus on hard results has become the, what's underneath the lens. That human aspect is still very much a thing, and now you can see, speaking of human aspect, Kreis has got a little bit of foresight going on, recognizes Chimera's movement out of the mid lane is likely towards the top side, and
Control Ward doing a lot of work there in the Tri-Brush to ward off Kalem, who was very much on vision there, but Chimera hasn't left. He still wants to go for this. Kreis nowhere near Mega Gnar yet. Finally hits the level 6 with that final boomerang, but it's just being zoned away, and you heard it from Obvious on the desk. The win con for MNM is just dive Kreis as much as you can, and this is a kind of the way to start it off, even if it doesn't completely play out this time around.
Yeah, not too shabby. I mean, at the end of the day, they still achieved the goal of denying so much of that wave to Kreis, and Chimera, sure, sacks a wave in the mid lane, but to be honest, it doesn't give up a play. I'm sure he's probably pretty comfortable with that. Again, Lissandra, the kind of champion who can play relatively low economy styles, The pan down, I don't know. Oh, okay, this is
Oh,
why.
there's a stun, but it is nicely buffered with the rocket jump this time around in the way that last time cost them a little bit more. This is a guy, you know, for XL, we've asked for some of the big shoes to be filled, to be that primary superstar Karen. We know the likes of Cries, the likes of Venza have been right up there as some of our better players, but MNS was just such a huge part of how the team played, and the way that the style has had to shift has really hurt XL this late on into the season. And with all the additional pressure, with all the additional stuff going on with, like, we cannot have spring happen again. We cannot have that, the hopes and dreams slip away one more time. That's just so much to work with in such a difficult situation, and I need to see some stability or I get really nervous in this game.
Yep, say what you want about Jimenez. If there's one thing that you can always attribute to him, is that his hands were bloody good. Simple as that. He would just 1v1 any mid laner just for the sake of doing it. And it did feel like, as you were saying, right, JDXL started to build a plan around that, right? It did definitely, from the analyst perspective, feel like at times they weren't necessarily playing in unison as a unit, but it would be Dan or FGG capitalizing on the individual leads that Jimenez would get. And having to adapt so late on in the split is definitely a very tough task, to say the least.
Absolutely. When it's such a big shift, when it's such a core member of how you played,
Yeah.
even if you're slipping in a very promising rookie in the fact of Morosky, you know, like maybe some champion pool stuff that needs to be worked, but this is a guy who's like, there's a lot of hope for is, maybe you have to wait a second here as Venza swiftly has to hop away from the spark surge over the wall from Mishigu. But, you know, for Morosky, this was is a promising rookie who, in any other world, in any other split, you could have looked to develop and make a game plan around, but this is right at the end of the split. All these other teams have done their development. All these other teams are looking into playoffs, into EU Masters, into things beyond, and it is a very difficult time to be making these switches, and it may well haunt XL here.
Yeah, you're, you know, effectively, I'll be generous and say 9 weeks behind on development. It is a lot of time to catch up on. Sure, Morozku would have been there during scrims, practice, learning directly under MNS.
All of that stuff.
It's not the same as playing those stage games, playing those scrims week in, week out. And Morozku, as you mentioned, very much a promising rookie. I mean, despite Eska's struggles last EU Masters, I think it was safe to say he was one of the few positive parts about that roster when it came to international tournament. As
Soft gets stunned here, and now might be in some danger as JDXL look to collapse. It will be a 2v4 as Soft gets the stun, will flash over the wall, finds Morozku, throws down the keeper's verdict and knocks the victor away. And despite burning the flash, does manage to extricate themselves from the JDXL collapse.
I love that champion.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
It's growing on me week by week.
Venza as well, doing a lot of work. And yeah, Poppy, right up there as potentially the best champion in the game, according to T1's owner, who is right up there as one of the better junglers in the world. And Soft on Vision, JDXL coming around to maybe contest for some of it, but not too much action as yet, unless Camera finds himself in too dangerous a position.
Lord, though, right? Yeah, so, ooh, double.
That was nearly very scary there. Nice idea, but the Herald summoned bot.
Yeah.
That will be Mishigu claiming even more plays, maybe even first turret entirely here. Huge win for MNM.
Yeah, that's so much gold. Actually, observers, if I could ask, maybe swap over to the gold because over the 1,000.
So polite.
A little, you know what, a little underwhelming considering that was full tower.
Yeah, I mean, like,
they just stripped away all the plates, but
It was a good CS discrepancy for Venza before this offense.
yeah, and I also will add, it's because Karakal did share a lot of play.
Ultra shock laser over the wall. Now the fight continues. Stun into the wall afterwards, and Dan does get down the subjugate, but there is a Cosmic Radiance come down to offer some invulnerability for 4. Camera goes over the wall, and Venza has to cleanse his way out of dodge.
Ooh, the health bars though, are they too low to really go for this dragon here? It's
They're gonna go for it anyway.
Pretty confident, but
Camera with the health bar to play with.
Tarek's gonna heal them up
so
slowly.
low on the AP. Kazmic's got him. Tarek, you're right, has got himself a bit of Starlight touch to offer some healing, but now JDXL to corral them in there. But Morozku's got no more mana. He can't fight this. Venza can try, but he's so low himself. He's got flash, but no cleanse. And just managed to get himself out of danger there. That was nearly very dangerous for JDXL.
yeah, crucial thing to note, Karakal had a target to hit after casting Q, so he was basically just able to repeat heal everybody in the pit. That was pretty hilarious. Did they have no vision? Was it? Oh my
That's genius.
God. Take about Karakal. No.
500 IQ.
That was phenomenal. Just off the vision of the sweeper itself, no actual direct vision. Really cool stuff, and you can see the Cosmic Radiance as well, denying away so much damage that Morozku could have been doing with that Chaos Storm. Cleanse and no flash, forced out of Venza by Chimera 2. Not too bad to play. They get their second dragon. It's an Infernal as well. It's one of the good ones. It's not Cloud.
Absolutely, and you know, they've stacked 2 very early. They could be on a soul point at 16 minutes, which with JDXL a little ways behind and honestly looking for a couple items on most of these carries.
Yeah,
It's a bit scary.
And this is a really big deal because to me, you know, I think both Camille and this Lissandra are going to be very much on spike by the time, you know, let's say MNM pick up the third dragon and we're at a soul point scenario, they will very much pick up, I would imagine, their core items and be ready to fight. You can already see the mythics are here for the top side of the map for MNM. I imagine Mishigu is not too far behind.
Surely not.
Has the tier 2 boots, that's the only difference between him not having that mythic right now compared to his teammates.
Well, while JDXL looking to sweep out some visions, maybe we'll check in. Our other hashtag of the day. Hashtag NLC Pet still there. NASA's hiding on bush. Nice combination of League memes there. Thank you, Morgazeno.
That's a cute dog.
It is a cute dog. Sorry about the pronunciation on the Twitter handle, by the by. But yeah, that is an attempt at hiding, and I appreciate that.
He's doing a great job.
Yes, I am a fan.
Thankfully, there's no ward in that.
No, that's true. You can't spot him. You know, that's the way it works. Whether you can see him or not, we're
Actually,
observers here.
forget it. Where was the dog? We only saw,
we just saw a
only
plant. We just saw a plant. We're assuming it's dog. It might be something else.
Yeah. Cute dog, though.
We have fun here. Teleport out, interestingly, from Calum, deciding to go and save this bot lane tier 1. There we go. Took me a second to remember what tier that was.
Yeah, I guess maybe a little bit of mismanagement on lane assignments there. Calum ended up on the top side when perhaps he should have been on the bottom. But at the end of the day, still going to pick up that wave, deny wasting plates from Cries. And the teleport. Now, I've always gotten this wrong, and it's something that I should look into at some point. But I think when you teleport before 14 minutes, and then the teleport changes into Unleash Teleport, I think it scales it back down into the original cooldown of
There's 14,
unlimited.
nothing changed. Oh, hang on. They went back. It should change.
So you
You're
can
right.
see yeah, so it scales down by percentage of how far it was in the cooldown. So it doesn't have to go through the full 6-minute cooldown of the original TP.
Yeah. Good to know. A little bit of knowledge there from Jamada. I honestly had no idea on that intricacy, so good to hear it as JDXL just haunting around this corner. They're going to be on vision, so I don't think they're going to be able to pull off too much. And honestly, it's been a significant lack of proactivity, really, from JDXL.
I think
they might be in trouble here. Maybe. They're going to throw down a big stun, though, into Cameron. On the other side, it's a two-front fight. Vendor trying to trade out. Michigan is forced away, but they have got a Cosmic Radiance, meaning the invulnerability comes through. Calum gets into the back and forth. A flash out of FGG alongside the heal, and they just win that fight.
Yeah, and that's Dan dead, so they're just going to go to commit for the Herald here. JDXL still have a couple of tools available, but it just looks like they're going to give this one up. I think that just makes a whole bunch of sense. MNM, they're definitely struggling to get through the health bar of Dan there for a moment. It's why you see the Trundle picked into the Poppy at times. So many just base resistances in Poppy's kit.
Wise, that's a risky place to be. So much damage coming down, and here come the rest of MNM. Chase Chimera away. He's pretty low. Think about going forward. Get a stun anyway. Venza will be resurrected by a Kronos, but FGG being forced away. He's got nowhere to run. Venza flashing out, and now the fight must commence. But split apart, and XL are falling apart. A 5th loss looking more and more likely on the card. Those dreams of an instant lock into EU Masters are dying by the minute.
Give me chaos. Give me chaos. Give me chaos. MNM are taking down JDXL in this early game. Objective bounties already available for the red side team. JDXL need this win to just simply lock EU Masters.
One win.
And right now, they can't even stand toe-to-toe with MNM in the early game. A fantastic flash. And knock into the wall from Soft, force the ultimate from FGG into Venza, but you can see FGG on the top side of the map just getting absolutely slaughtered by Scissor Leg Lady. Calum, and 2 kills go into the pocket of Azeri. Yeah. I'm struggling here to see what ins JDXL have.
Now 5 seconds until what will be Infernal Soul Point. So many easy ways to get a Tarek Dazzle into the backline, and JDXL seem to be out of answers. They'll start up the Drake, and MNM are around to contest. They're down perhaps a few key summoners, but I think they still fight this. Remember, there's still a Keeper's Verdict available. They can knock people out. The double Dazzle, dragging down 2,000 HP. Another fight commences. Venza will maybe turn this one as 1-for-1 right now. Mishigu getting chunked out by Cries. Look at the other side, though. Dan gets exhausted, gets taken down. Cries stunned as well, and JDXL collapse once more. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The L's are extra large. It's not done. Ultra Shock laser over the wall. Calum gets a blast cone, and FGG blasting off again. It's comical. It's looking like Team Rocket from Pokemon at this point.
XL are 1 kill short of being perfect gamed 17 minutes in. This is a bit of a schmackin', plain and simple.
We asked for chaos.
We did.
It's happening. The
we're doing
curse is real. JDXL, it happened in spring. It's happening in summer. 4 losses on the trot, looking like a 5th right now. The rest of the teams looking on and rubbing their hands. A spot at EU Masters available potentially here if JDXL can't turn this fight around. Let's have a look at this again.
Rubbing their hands, licking their lips. It's just a fantastic flank from Chimera. And Soft actually gets burned down quite quickly. Like you said, a couple of the tools weren't fully available from MNM, but fortunately, Dan just gets deleted by Calum. And despite the fact that the Mega Gnar was there just wasn't really any real chance of follow-up. And chase down comes in, FGG and Morosku, just easy pickings for MNM.
That's what it's felt like practically all game. The MNM have been on the front foot. They've played with style, with verve, frankly. And JDXL on the side, they drafted what should have been a stable comp that could scale and go back to basics. And it's falling apart here a bit.
And I will say, it's, you know, there's a lot of context to this game, right?
Of course, yeah.
MNM, JDXL have definitely been struggling to, you know, get their mid games in order. So maybe they felt like, contextually, maybe we just draft stable early games that give us even easier mid games to execute. My only problem with this is that MNM have been one of the few teams that actually will go at you in the early game a lot of the time. Even if their stats don't necessarily say it, stats can lie. Like, MNM could be one of the scariest early game teams in the league when they want to be. Karakal, okay.
The volatility from this team has been so extreme. That will be a fairly large cooldown in the Cosmic Radiance. Still at rank 1, remember, so that will be down for a bit. 3 minutes until the Infernal Soul fight, though, and I think, at the minute, MNM not really feeling like Baron, still a minute off spawning, so not the worst time to have that cooldown burned. Yeah,
and, you know, we're tracking items right now. Vender's down a full item. Chimera is going to be pretty close to that. Zonya's very soon. Morosku is a whole couple thousand probably away from his second item. When you're playing on that Victor, you want those damage items, plain and simple. You don't really want something like a Zonya's second item to try and play survivability. You want to get your damage out. And right now, I'm just not sure Morosku's going to get that
Calum finds an angle onto Dan, but there's going to be a gravity field. Maybe they've gone too deep. That is very deep, but they're going to get one already. Venza is gone. Resurrecting is Dan, but I don't think he's got anywhere to go. The only things being subjugated are JDXL's chances of hitting top 2.
Whew. That was a savage line.
It's a savage game. It's a savage game.
But oh my word, MNM are just, I don't even know, picking XL apart surgically because, you know, Camille.
Yeah, I see that.
And they just kind of catch them on vision. I guess maybe the lane ward gave a little bit of credence to where roughly XL would be, and just into the wall, CC, this Zilean ult just doesn't really provide anything. Just basically waiting to respawn and die, and no damage can come out in return just yet because, frankly, it's not available for JDXL just now. Victor still needs that extra additional item really to come online and be a massive backline threat, and we were just speaking about the difference between Mishigu and Venza, so until those items come in, JDXL, they're going to be more than on the back foot. They're almost 10,000 gold down. And MNM, they're probably toying with the idea of a Baron before the Dragon even spawns up.
They are you're looking at an AD carry that's 604. The only kill JDXL have is on their support, Zilean. This might be their moment to turn it around, but there's just going to be so much CC. Dan's resurrecting, but he's going to be brought back to go straight down into the grave. They'll bury him a few feet deeper this time.
You know, I was worried when I saw the Zilean pick.
Yeah.
And then we had a whole bunch of single target burst damage come out from MNM, but frankly, who cares if you can murder targets so fast that the rest of the team simply can't respond and you can hold the ground? Like, it is absolute... It's an absolute massacre. It is an absolute massacre. And MNM now have the Baron. They've got 30 seconds to get back out onto the map, but even with JDXL being on this side of the map, the problem is it doesn't even look like they have any wards left to set up too much vision. I mean, FGG's got 2.
They used them all in the red side jungle. They used them all to try and contest for the Baron.
You can kind of see, like, in the minimap right now, a lot of it is split between kind of like going up towards that Baron side. Yeah. They were worried, but right now, all JDXL have is 2 wards to kind of cover entrances. Calum's here on the top side, probably has an item waiting to be purchased, but he's just going to stay out on the map and have teleport ready and available. And he's getting that tower for free. So JDXL...
Just out of Mega, there could be a problem, but now they're going to throw down the Cosmic Radiance. Going to be out of it, though. Soft dies. That's a big one. The jungler is dead, and now MNM teleport in, but they are already short the man. Venza, so low, though, has to be afraid. Rocket jumps away, and yes, the man is dead. One man is dead, but so much of MNM's damage is still alive, and the Dragon is still up. It's still early enough in the game. The Soft's not going to be dead for that long. They're going to start the Dragon regardless.
It's the jungler that's dead, though. That's the thing. Once they'll have a window maybe to try and burst the dragon down. It'll be a bit risky if MNM decide to commit for an engage.
Holds the hook shot, but gets it anyway on the Cry. It's nearly a Mega Gnar, though. We ought to hop away. So much damage comes in. They're going to knock him out with a Mega Gnar. Shut down another man down, and have MNM done an MNM thing and thrown the game. You've seen it before. Maybe you'll see it again. That dragon continue being started. Soft, second off spawning, is now back, but Karakal, Kalem, Mishigu, all here trying to keep JDXL well. That soul, so juicy, so delicious, so much of a victory option. Now it's stolen! It's stolen! Mishigu gets a kill afterwards to boot, and JDXL, you can't even get that. You had the smite advantage, and now Karakal will step forward. JDXL trying to trade this one out, but they're down the Infernal Soul. A hook shot with a dazzle attached will claim even more kills. I can't believe it.
Turn it off.
JDXL can't believe it.
Turn it off!
It's done. This isn't fit for human consumption. This isn't fit for this early in the night. I'm witnessing a comedy of errors, and Cries knocked into the wall and knocked down. Soft hunts for FGG, and just like that, the disaster for JDXL continues.
Oh,
Can't believe it.
God. It's off.
Soft, I suspect, might be dying here. Throws a thumbs up, but they just don't feel close enough to trade. He's got an audacious shot. He's got a heroic charge away. Apologise, not a Xin Zhao. But all the while, inhibitor in mid lane falls. Soul stolen by Mishigu's Ultra Shock laser. You just can't write it like this.
Are we going to get a real... We are.
I'm sorry for what you're all about to witness.
Wait, did Dan not have smite the entire time?
He didn't. It's on cooldown.
Ah, that's pretty problematic. Now, this fight looked potentially pretty bad for MNM, especially when Cries gets back into Mega. It's not like the most game, turning ultimate, but the fact that they're able to kind of turn Chimera away, pretty big deal. We're going to need a slowdown on exactly what the game plan was, because...
Oh, no.
There's just a brief window where everybody on XL stops hitting the dragon because they want to chase down Kalem, and yeah.
Jungler, but no smite. The stopwatch for Mishigu, and it just falls apart if it hadn't already.
God. I'm running out of words to say.
I know, it is leaving both of us speechless here a bit. I feel like the footage speaks for itself. And unfortunately, it feels like a catastrophe.
Catastrophe, there are so many synonyms for this game, to be frank with you.
I can feel the Benny Hill theme just running around in my head, and JDXL, you can feel the frustration, the tilt, whatever you want to name it. This game meant so much. We've seen the downward trajectory, but this feels like a capitulation. I hate to put it in any other way.
Yep, exactly that. Soul, ready to boot and see what MNM can get done. 2 minutes to the next Baron, potentially, but they picked up one inhibitor. And even though there is wave clear available for JDXL,
oh, good grief. In they go with a dazzle, a cosmic radiance, and a death wish for JDXL. Where were you when they went down in 5 games straight? To lose top 2, to lose that initial shot at EU Masters. The downward trend, the collapse, the catastrophe, the end of days. Name it what you want. The XL downward spiral continues. MNM pull back to an inhibitor turret, and JDXL breathe for a minute more.
Tailspin has been
delayed.
delayed for now. But MNM, they're not going to leave without this inhibitor, it seems like. And I think they should just about be able to get it.
That's so little they can do. They're behind so many items behind. It feels on every play they tried, there's just nothing that goes right at the minute.
I mean, okay, let's...
Give me a hope.
Yeah. So normally, admittedly, I will say, I do play Pessimist a lot.
That's fair.
Well, it's considered pessimism. I like to call it realistic outcomes. Elder Dragon's up in 2 minutes.
Flip that. Win. I mean, they killed the jungler before the last dragon fight. Soft went a little deep.
Yeah.
Maybe that is the angle. Maybe that's what you put all your hopes on. Spawning early, and that might be the dream. You've got 2 items on your Victor and your Tristan, and you have to pray it's enough.
And I mean, to be fair, they're not exactly behind curve. They're just behind curve for the state of the game. So, the champions are online.
Yes. Yes, they're not behind curve, unless you look at M&M's inventory.
If you're like 2 items on these carries, 25 minutes, well, 26, 27 now. you'd be like, okay, decent state. But then you like unveil the rest of the map and the gold difference, and yeah, it's just looking a little bit tragic right now. MNM just have control of the top side jungle for now. At the very least, they're gonna have to force JDXL to come into them, and that is almost always gonna be an advantage to MNM, because look at Calum, he's looking for an angle here potentially, and we've seen how many times that dive forward has been deadly.
Baron number 2 started up. JDXL got cries with Mega Gnar. Kalem walks into that Gnar. Actually, now Kalem in danger, but will use that Hex take ultimate device base. Jeff Venza on the other side, deleted, taken out before he can even start. The Cosmic Radiance comes down. The jungler is dead. The AD carry is dead. Mirage must run, but he's running the wrong way. Doesn't that feel like an apt analogy for the end of the split for JDXL? They're about to burn out here in this game, and instead the Marshmallows will roast themselves over the flames of JDXL's loss.
It's a slow rundown. It's a very slow rundown, but you can see how much damage Morosku is capable of doing.
He's trying. Gets a hammer bash. It's not going to be quite. It is. He gets that one. That's at least one small victory, but is it going to be enough for Morosku?
I've seen him win these.
Maybe. He's going to have to try, but an Ice Shard will do him in. A Frozen Thrall instead walks towards a Tri-Brush, and all the while MNM pull their way back to claim some more items. And JDXL perhaps holding on to this game for longer than they maybe should be allowed to.
Optimism from Jamada.
Go for it, I believe.
They didn't lose the Baron, and now the Elder's up at the same time.
You're right, it didn't go down. Okay, jungler's dead. Dan is alive. JDXL, can you punish the old adage of MNM's weakness? They play half a game of beautiful League of Legends and half the worst one you've ever seen outside of Bronze solo queue. Maybe I exaggerate, but hey, the Elder's alive, and JDXL, they've still got a hope. Watch, Caleb into the backside, gets in on Dan, but that's not going to be enough. So much damage from camera, though. The Ring of Ice will put them all to the sword. One Frozen Soul is in goes Caleb to the backside, can't quite cry. Now he's in danger himself. Does die a 1-for-1. Ultra Shock Laser just wise, but JDXL have to run out.
All right, well, I think the end result is still MNM are going to be the first to this Elder Dragon.
Karakal will play Bouncer. His Armor of the Fifth Age has brought the team so many victories. 1-0-18, 11-0-6, 4 items Zeri. The Elder Dragon's in already, and that will be MNM up an ungodly amount of gold. Infernal Soul, Elder Dragon heading over towards a Baron, and JDXL, it really is a miracle or bust at this point. Unfortunately, the Scottish Faker, the god, is playing on the other team.
Yep. Unfortunately, when JDXL loaded into this lobby, they didn't realize that they were playing against the second coming of Faker himself. So right now, just kind of getting minced by Scottish Faker and his team.
It's been a game, it's been a revelation, so to speak, at the end of the split. And JDXL, unfortunately, weren't on the right page. Baron, Elder, Soul, the gold discrepancy, JDXL. Maybe at this point, you're better off putting your hands together and hoping.
I'm not a religious man, but if I was a JDXL fan, I would be right about now.
Gotta hope. They've got to pray. They've got to do something here because the base is in tatters, and MNM don't look like the kind to show mercy at this point in the game. The final inhibitor falls, and it will be a last stand here before their light is snuffed out.
XL, last chance. Defense to Redemption comes down to heal up MNM a little.
Just waiting for the minions.
You can see the damage from Morosku is there, but like they are just too far behind. The Elder buff, the Baron, the waves are going to start stacking in now. What can you give us, JDXL? Mega Gnar starting to stack now.
They've got to hope the Shirley's come down. Inhibitor respawns, but a Nexus Tower falls in trade. They must hold, they must do something, but Soft says no! One man's dead, another falls, and JDXL, the curse is too strong. There is no way to break it, nothing to be done. The hopes are not answered, and instead MNM might be in relegations, but they still play Blue Shell. The games are on, and JDXL will not lock in EU Masters. Not yet, not today.
JDXL, the final hurdle, a relegation team. That's all it was. I mean, it's a tailspin. We've been speaking about it throughout, a lot of that cast there. Fantastic game for M&M. Not much to play for, all right? And I have to say, what a truly, truly, truly outrageous game.
Oh, yes, indeed. And speaking of gems, that was a Diamond Plus performance. You have to feel it. Beautiful stuff from M&M. And it means everything to play for today. to the death to break that one down because, wow.
When all is said and done, I want marshmallows on my donut. MNM taking down JDXL. Relegation team looking into the top 2 contender that may no longer be top 2. We need to talk about early game and the way MNM dived this one. I'll start with you, Obvious. The way MNM drove this one versus JDXL, and they couldn't stop them.
No, I mean, we see we talked about before the game that Kreis needed to play safe. That's where they had the real attack angle. He dies as soon as the game starts, basically. And then we see Vensu die at a specific moment in the game that he has died before. So this was just super uninspiring. Like going off the early game, super uninspiring from JDXL. I feel like they had the tools that they needed, but they're just not using them. This is sad.
You seem like you want to go Sailor Moon.
I'm about to drop the hammer of justice here.
Do it.
0-5 in the last 5 games for JDXL, including a game that they've played with MNS, which also looked pretty bad. So mid lane is not the problem. The problem right now, I think, lies a lot in the bot lane. I feel like Venza has been underperforming in the latter half of the split. These level 3 deaths anymore are not funny. We were talking with each other and we're like, how in the world does Tristana, Zillion not have priority and push in the lane? And you said to me, that level 3 destroyed everything, and it did. Flash up for Venza, there were speed ups from Zillion, still dies level 3. Coats diff in the bot lane for MNM as well. Kreis dies underneath his tower, possibly in a shop, while having flash to a Poppy, which had he flashed that E from Poppy, Poppy was dead. She literally got out with 50 HP in her bar. So there's a lot of things going wrong. Roscu, on a champion that he's not necessarily known for, being the top performer for the team on the Victor. And Dan looked so freaking lost, because when both your side lanes fall apart, when your mid lane is playing a pushing priority mage, where the heck do you go?
The skin for Fireman is on Tristana. It's not on a Trundle, but I want you want to talk about something.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to ask, is it even play anymore? Like, it must be mental for them. Like, not to go any British slang or anything like that, that's not what I mean. But like, their mentality must be absolutely destroyed at this point, that you can see it in the game.
On the other side, though, MNM should be jumping in joy. That's why we're going to talk with Karakal Jr. That is the coach. That is the bot lane. Look at that smile. You just defeated JDXL.
Coach diff.
Coach diff on the bot side. What do you think?
Well, I'm a bit rusty still, but I think my Tarek is pretty good. It's like the only champion I almost play right now. I think for relegations I will have a lot more champions. But I think, with Tariq, I'm pretty good still at the game, yeah.
This is interesting. I want to talk to you about that specific line for relegations. Are you still going to be playing with the team on relegations? Is this something that is going to happen and we can expect?
Yeah, I will play in relegations with the team and Siko will be the head coach. And I will be one more player another time, like in the past, enjoying my super lifestyle now.
Tell me, you know you're locked in relegation, so you must have seen a few teams from Division 2. Are you worried about any team right now? Because MNM seems to be performing really well.
I'm more worried about ourselves playing good, because honestly, I believe that we can beat any Div 2 teams. I think we could have beat we beat X7 2 times. We could have beat Riddle. We could have beat Bifrost as well. We threw a lot of games. I think Division 2 teams, they lack a lot of things that we already have. I think what we need is consistency and just play good individually. The only way the Div 2 teams, in my opinion, can beat us is if they are really good individually and they can win lane. If not outside of the game, outside of laning phase, I don't think they can match us, honestly.
Interesting. You're talking about individual talents, and I want to talk about a specific one for MNM. We've been talking about him constantly. We talk about Michigo a lot of times. When he pops, he pops. He's one of those AD carries that, I don't know, this seems like a harsh sentence, but it seems like Elo hell for Michigo right now. What do you feel about Michigo as a coach? And now you play with him as well. Where do you believe is his limit?
I think he's really good. I think he's really talented. He showed that he can play everything. He can play mages and he can play any meta champions when he wants to. He picks really fast the champion. I think wherever he wants to go, he will get. If he puts the work and the time in, he will. There's no limit for him, and I truly believe that. If he's focused on the game and he wants to become the best, we will see him really good in the future.
Okay, I would like to see that in the future. And then final question for you, Karakal. Is there a world where we might end up seeing you full-time as a player and someone else joining in as a coach, trying to help you? What is your goal right now? Because you're looking good as a player.
I mean, my playing days are over. Guys, this is just a fix that we had. We had different options. This was one option that we choose that the team liked. We could do it. But I'm already 27 years old. It's not that I don't believe that esports players get old and they get bad, but I think I want to keep being a coach. So 2 months being a player and then back to coaching. That's what is going to happen 100%.
Just
no doubt.
Listen, man, if you're coming in just casually slapping JDXL out of the top 2 and then going back to your normal duties, hey, I would take that W, man.
Yeah, that is the biggest W. Like, I join in, I defeated JDXL, I go in relegations.
I'm out, peace.
I style on those kids. I'm good to be a coach yet again. Thank you so much for this interview, Karakal. It's a pleasure to talk with you and to meet you. And good luck on relegations. I'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Confidence and pride.
Dumb, dude. It's
Yeah.
like, nah, I'm not gonna be a player. I'll slap the pro players real quickly. I'll just go back to my normal duties, put hat on.
Who that? New phone, who's this? Like, he's looking fine. Is this something you wanted to do back in the day when
As a coach, you always want to think that you could go back in and fix the team's issues. So it's definitely something, and it's always been like something that's always looming over your head. So
1-2 games at least just to join in. I'm like, this is how you play, guys. I've been telling you, and then you go away.
But I like what he said about, like, he's only afraid if they can individually outclass them from the second div. Like, you see, actually, their macro, as soon as he's come in, has been a lot better. Like, they have double coaches, so coach diff.
We're talking about that, like being an in-game leader for the team, taking a role from a different game, I would say. And it's working for MNM. So relegation seems strong for them. But now we need to talk about something
Talking about
else.
Coach Diff.
So now we need to talk about JDXL. They're going through the roughest patch of them all. You said it, mid lane is no longer the same. The issues are even worse, I would say, right now.
Okay, I'm just going to be really clear here. I do not think mid lane is the issue. If anything, I feel like MNS had some bad games and MNS had some good games. At the end of the day, even when MNS had atrocious games like the Thalia one that we watched, he still tried to turn it around. Like, he literally ran it down in the early game, and then he's like, you know what, I'll play the game now. It was too little too late, but he still turned it around. I feel like the fact that JDXL do not have the clutch factor anymore of the guy who literally hoover all the resources of the map and then give you 32% damage on the fly is a big problem, because Venzo's not performing. That's your AD carry. That's one of the main sources of damage. Moroz is trying to find his place in the team. That's your second carry, your second source of damage. And Kreis seems to be dying at the tower a lot of the times with flash. So who's meant to carry the team, especially now that durability patch has hit, and carry junglers are not there to bail out Dan either. So it feels like the team has to restructure and find the style they want to play, because playing through bot doesn't seem to be working.
Not even top. And it's a big confusion right now, and I'm going to hit you with this specific question, because you're the guest and I can make this to you. You're fine replying to this, okay?
Sure.
Everyone else on the team should be like in flames if we replied, so you're the only one that can reply to this one.
Okay.
Is this a Neo Master team right now?
No.
Thank you.
I can reply for this as well.
I don't want you to... I just want someone from outside giving me that vision.
I can take the flame. Just lay it on me. I'm fine with that.
Let's jump into the interview with Torok from JDXL, the coach from JDXL, to understand what is going through. Welcome to the show, Torok.
Hello.
I know this is the roughest interview we've ever done in the past. We had something going on. If you got the W on this one, it didn't happen. Tell me something. And you know me. You know, for the life of me, I love you and I respect your work and the entire JDXL, but I have to go deep on this one, so please bear with me. What is happening, not in terms of damage. Doesn't seem like the team needs damage. It seems like the mentality of the team is no longer there. Tell me in your eyes what is happening with JDXL right now.
Sure. So I think we're definitely just not performing well as a team. And this is I would say actually more so in our officials than our scrims, but I think this can be true for anyone, right? When it comes to our official games, frankly, players, maybe staff as well, when we come to draft prep, etc. I mean, there's so many things you want to question when you're losing, right? But people aren't turning up and replicating the way that we play in scrims in our officials. And the problem is when that happens, you have a really big problem, right? Like we saw it with Astralis Talent last split, right? These teams that will come in and say, well, we're doing well in our scrims, but we're not doing well on officials, and you have to sort of wonder, well, what's actually going on there, right? And how can we fix that? Because we don't have much time now. But regardless, it's definitely tough because we're coming into this game, and frankly, it's lost by level 3 because there are huge mistakes on both side lanes, and it really makes the map fall apart. And that's something that can never happen. It's something that should honestly not be a thing when you're looking at how this game should play out, and it makes the game a lot harder. Yeah, so it's really tough to say exactly what's going wrong because I think everybody knows what they should be doing, but when it comes to officials, things just aren't clicking at the moment.
We talked about mentality. Let's talk about champion pool. FGG on the Zillion, you get to Tristana on Vincent as well, and you start wondering, these are not the champions we are used to. Are these champions being picked because they make sense in the game and the players are not comfortable with them, and that could be part of the issue? Or is this something that you guys have been setting up, practicing, getting on officials like scrims and all that, and they're now working on officials? Because I don't see the players being comfortable with these champions. What can you tell me about that?
Well, I think Gary had a really good Zillion game earlier on in the split, and so that's a champion we're always pretty confident in picking if it makes sense for the draft. When we were looking at, for example, prepping for MNM today, we know they have a big Torok main in Karakal, and picking Zillion should essentially nullify that champion, right? So we were very confident in a way of picking Zillion. I think Tristana is something that we also had success with in scrims this week, but naturally didn't pan out the way we wanted in today's official. Is it a different read from our bot lane? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we have a very different piece in mid, and we're trying to adapt and move in the way that we think is appropriate. Do I think today's draft was winning? To be honest, also yes. Maybe I'm delusional, but I'd say so. Right? It's just at the end of the day, when you get to the execution side of things, it doesn't matter what champions you have. You have to play well. You have to just play better. Is the quote, right? And currently, we're not playing better than our opponents.
Okay, I'll give the last question for Trouble, and before that, I want to make one. This is the hardest one so far that I've done to you. As the team is performing right now, and the way things are going with JDXL, you guys are at the top 1, top 2, top 3 at this moment. You still don't know, jumping into playoffs. You could face Riddle yet again. You know how that goes.
Not like this.
For you, Torok, is NLC has 3 seeds at EU Masters. Do you believe currently the team should get 1 as they are playing right now?
As we're playing right now in officials, absolutely not. As we're playing in our scrims, I think we can still do damage. But it's a real question, right? And to be honest, it's not about whether I think we should have it or whether I think we shouldn't. We have to earn it. We had the opportunities to earn it. We blew them. I guess we can maybe get lucky if Nairiki managed to beat Riddle tonight, and I don't even know how that system works, and frankly, it doesn't matter because it's down to us to come in and play better in our officials. There's no point us going to E-Masters if we can't take a best of 1 off MNM. And that's no shame to them, but there's a lot of good teams at E-Masters, and it's got to make sure that, whichever team is coming from the NLC, we're able to play good League of Legends consistently and turn up being able to, carry the hopes of the region, right? We need to be able to win.
Okay, enough with the tough questions because this is killing me. Trouble, it's on you.
Don't worry, I'm going to hit him with another one. Okay, so of course, when we're talking about really good teams, there's plan A always, there's plan B, and there's plan C, where you bring out the fire extinguisher and you start sort of like putting down all the fires, right? So plan A, plan B goes wrong. Usually plan C for JDXL used to be give all the freaking gold to MNS, pray this guy presses his buttons like the god he is, get that damage done, 1 good play, and it's done. I feel like for the past 5 games, even when MNS was when the 0-5 started, right, the streak, it feels like not only there's no plan C to start extinguishing the fires, but there's not even plan B. Do you think there's a specific reason for that?
Well, I mean, sometimes it's very difficult to work around, for example, a plan C, which is very inconsistent, right? And I think, yeah, we could say we traditionally had like a plan A, a plan B, plan C, but you really have to see this as a bit of a new roster, right? Minsky was someone who often played extremely hard for Prio and is somebody who can is a player who can absolutely take over games with just how well he takes in resources and puts pressure in terms of laning phase, right? And team fighting is also very good, right? I think the important thing is when you're coming in with Roscoe, we needed other players in our team to shoulder some of that plan A potential, right? Because he is a complete rookie. He's someone, well, not complete rookie. He's in his rookie year, right? He's someone who's frankly not been scrimming for the last month or two, right? And he needed some time to get involved. Roscoe in scrims has been improving day by day by day. Honestly, I think even today's performance showed it a little bit, but I don't think he's been poor in our other games, right? He's actually becoming quite a rock for the roster, right? And that's something very impressive for someone who is in the rookie split. I think when we're looking towards our playoffs run, we need to have a clearly defined plan A, plan B, plan C again. And I think so far we haven't managed to live up to the change in the roster that people needed to take on more responsibility. And so we're going to have to, keep working in our practice to make sure that we actually have a solid way of transitioning wins in sort of as many modes as possible, right? But I think getting wins is a good start first.
Okay. Thank you for the answers. Sorry for the tough interview. And I would wish you luck, but it's about hard work right now, and I know you don't lack on that department, so best of luck with you, Torok, and the rest of the team, and show us what you're capable of doing.
Thanks very much.
I'll see you soon.
It's rough. It's rough. You've lost identity. You've lost one of your key pieces. You've lost the ability to play, it seems like, League of Legends. The mentality has gone booming. It feels like bot lane's falling apart, top lane's falling apart. If two side lanes fall apart, jungle can't play. If mid lane is not a lane to play through because you're playing a Victor, you're a pushing bot, you can't play through that. So it feels like they need to go back to what's plan A, what's plan B, what's plan C.
There's a lack of identity.
Because it felt like a lot of the times the plan C was, let's hope MNS presses buttons and actually we win the game, but it's not there anymore. And if Morosco can't turn into a new MNS but needs a little bit of time because she's just adapting, they might not have much. If they fall into lower bracket, they're playing on Monday.
Yep. That's the toughest one. I mean, let's look into the standings so you guys can understand what is happening right now. Riddle Esports is now ahead of JDXL with 12 and 5. JDXL with 12 and 6. If X7 wins today, they will tie up with JDXL. There's a lot to take in consideration. If Riddle wins today, they automatically lock in the second seed. Trouble.
If XL do tie with Riddle, XL have the 2-0 over Riddle, so they're technically, the standings are not correct right now, production. JDXL is number 2 over Riddle. But the problem is, X7 are playing Singularity later on, a game that should definitely be X7 favored because they have not lost a single game with Viking. If they take this, they tie with JDXL, therefore they have more wins on the latter stages of the split, therefore X7 kick XL down. If Riddle also win, that means JDXL end up 4th, which means you don't even get to pick your opponent.
They could go from 1st place to 4th place.